Hi there, and good Saturday morning to you. My name is Rebecca Stark, and I am here to share another "Do Not Fear" verse, and I've got a really lovely story to share with you today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I just hope that this verse and this story encourage you in your life and whatever challenges you might be facing because I've got a great story. It's pretty amazing. So our verse of the day comes from the book of James, which is towards the end of the New Testament. And it's James. It's a really easy verse to remember. It's James chapter 1, and it's verses 2 and 3. So if you just remember James 1, 2, 3, it'll get you there. So James 1, 2, 3, chapter 1, verses 2 and 3 say, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." So now, yes, this is not a true, straightforward, do not fear verse, but there's definitely an implication. Count it joy. If you're facing difficulties, just know that these difficulties, these trials, are going to lead to steadfastness and the strengthening of your faith. Sorry, I'm flipping back. Like, what do I do with that verse? I have this lovely little collection of verses that I created. So count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kind, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And that is definitely a theme in this story I'm going to tell you. So obviously we are all living our lives, and in our lives we come across great people. And I'm so very grateful and honored for the people that God has brought through my life and the people I have met. And one of the skills that God gave me is that I connect. And I never know what it's going to look like, and I never know when it's going to happen. I never know who it's going to be, if it's a person with another person or an organization, or I never know. And it happens, and when it happens, it's beautiful. And it just happened literally yesterday, and just amazing. So many years ago, probably 17, 18 years ago, I was teaching for a school called Concord, and I'm grateful to say that many of the students I met at Concord are still in my life, and they're still friends of mine. And one of those women is a woman named Christy. And what's funny, I don't know that Christy she might have been in one of my classes, but I think she was in a cohort of a group of students I was teaching. And so we just we passed each other. We didn't really know each other. Unfortunately, right around the time Christy completed her nursing education there at Concord, her husband died. And her husband was a veteran of foreign wars. And he was, his death was attributed to his service, so his armed forces. In fact, he might have even been an active member. Forgive me, I don't have the exact details of Christy's story, but Christy is now a widow of an armed forces, of a member of our armed forces, and she starts getting benefits from the VA because her spouse was a veteran, and because he died, was associated with his service. So that's many, many years ago. And somehow, through the grace of God, Christy and I managed to stay in touch, and we just developed this really sweet friendship. And it's almost all Facebook. I think maybe a week, she came and she actually stayed with us because she had to be in Denver for something. But Christy and I don't see each other in person a lot. We see each other on Facebook a lot, and I think we're even Duolingo friends. Goofy. So there you go. So there's one connection. So Christy has been in my life for a long time. Wonderful woman, sweet woman. She has 2 daughters. She's raising those daughters, and she's being very transparent and sharing about the challenges of being a widow, and just going through her life and all that she has faced as a result of that loss of her husband. So Christy's here and she's in my life, and we moved to Houston, and I'm a realtor, and somebody had asked on one of the moms groups, like, hey, I need help finding a house. My credit's not great, but I need to rent. Is there anybody out there who can help? And I had just responded to that post and said, hey, you know what? I'm a realtor. I'm happy to help you, and yes, we can talk about how to get through those difficulties. So not the person who posted, but somebody else, Maria, reaches out to me and she says, hey, would you be willing to help my family and I find a house? And it just, again, God connection, wonderful. Like, I meet her, we start to look for houses. We end up not finding her house that year. That was 2024. So 2025, we stay in touch, and I'm very grateful to say that Maria and I have become friends as a result of her asking for help with finding a house. So Maria's in my life, and she's a wonderful woman, and I know things about her because she's, I was her realtor, and there were some things that she had shared with me, and I knew she worked for the VA. So this week, Christy, my friend from many years ago, shares that her VA benefits were suddenly terminated. And it's not exactly clear why, and everybody's saying this shouldn't have happened, but it happened. And she was even sent something from the VA that said, oh, not only were your benefits terminated, they were terminated a while ago, and you owe the VA money because we gave you benefits when we shouldn't have been giving you benefits. So this verse, James 1:2-3, it says, count it all joy when you face trials of various kinds. And let me tell you, Christy has faced, this is not the first of the trials that Christy has faced. She has faced many, and she's very transparent about sharing her trials. So thankfully, Christy went onto Facebook and she shared, this is the situation I'm in right now, and it's really frustrating, and I trust God, and I know that God's going to bring it all back around. So I see Christy's post and the fact that she's sharing that she's struggling and that she's lost her benefits through the VA. And I know Maria, and I know that Maria works for the VA. So I reached out to Maria and I said, hey, Maria, can I put you in touch with this friend of mine? So it was a phone call, and Christy had been making many phone calls. She'd been calling and trying to find and get around and connect with somebody. And Christy and Maria had a phone call yesterday, and from the sounds of it, everything's going to fall into place. We're fine. Christy's going to get her benefits, and she doesn't know a great deal of money. And how amazing and how awesome is that to see that? And that's God showing up in life. God is just kind of coming in and saying, hey, you know what? I got this. And, Maria lives in the Houston area just like I do. Christy, I'm sorry, Christy, I should know this. I don't know where Christy lives. I think maybe Tennessee, but I don't exactly know. But she doesn't live here. I do know she's in the Eastern time zone because she said that in her message to Maria when they were trying to make the appointment to talk on the phone. And God brought them together. And God brought them together to help solve Christy's problem. Count it joy, my brothers and sisters, when you meet trials, because the testing of your faith is going to produce steadfastness. And just being a little piece, being the connector, the one that says, oh, you two need to talk, that has amplified my faith tremendously. I'm in awe. I'm not surprised. I'm not astounded. I'm just going, wow, look at God. Look at what God is doing. So if you find yourself facing some seemingly insurmountable challenge, and let me tell you, when Christy was first sharing this story of listen, we're losing survivor benefits, and I have this huge bill, like 6-figure bill, that I have to pay back to the VA. I don't know what's going to come of this, but she did say, I trust God. I trust that God is going to show up in a big way. And he did. So if you're facing something that's seemingly insurmountable and you're like, I don't know how this is going to happen, trust God. Just trust. Trust that facing these trials, it's going to get you, there's another side. There's always another side to our troubles. You'll get to the other side and you'll be able to look back and say, look at how God showed up. Even my little, insignificant compared, but this little blip that we went through with my husband and his health concerns, and through our church, God connected us with a great cardiologist, and we were able to see that cardiologist and make sure that Price was checked out and everything's okay. And I can look back and I can see, look at what God did. So I hope you have that faith. And if you need that faith, you can borrow mine. You can borrow that story. And if you have a story that you want to share that God did something absolutely amazing in your life, please share it. You can send it to me. You can make your own video. You can write a post on Facebook, whatever. Even just tell a friend. Because this sharing of coming through trials of various kinds, the testing of faith produces steadfastness, and whether it's in your life or it's in the life of somebody who hears that story, just know and trust that God does really amazing things, and He's done really amazing things in other lives, and He can do amazing things in your lives. So again, I hope that this supports and encourages and just sustains you through whatever challenges and trials you're facing. And thank you so very much for watching. God bless you.